Selectmen's Board of Education meeting. We'll start the meeting off, we just call a roll, please.
Tyler Bates.
Here.
Jack Dawson. Here. Elizabeth Johnson.
Here.
Terry Lau.
Here.
Brian Tagwell.
Here. First, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. We had a couple significant losses in the community just this week, or just in the last 24 hours. So that or anything else that might be on your mind, we're going to observe a moment of silence and then we'll stand for the pledge. And please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this time we would just need a motion to approve the agenda unless anybody sees something that we need to make a modification for.
I'll approve.
I'll second.
Terry moves to approve, Tyler seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
And the agenda is approved. And we will start this evening off with some great news with recognition of all students.
Always a positive of our day here is to celebrate our Raiders for outstanding work, dedication, and representation of the Raider Way. And here with us today is Miss Ruby. She is here representing speech and debate. And Coach Nikki Square, you want to come on up and
Sure.
inform us of why we are celebrating Mrs. Ruby?
Over there.
Where?
Thank you for having us again for speech and debate. We appreciate it. Ruby, come on up here. Ruby is a freshman on the speech and debate team. This was her very first year competing in declamation. She competed at the state tournament against about 258 kids in declamation. But what that means is those 258 came from across the state. They competed all season. Ruby is one of those kids that no matter what we told her to do, she was like, okay, I got it. And she did it. And as we were watching her that day, we knew what was happening because I was behind the scenes seeing the scores, and she had no idea what was happening. So we have some pretty great pictures of her face when she got the news that she was the state champion, which is amazing in its own right, but as a freshman, that's crazy. So we are so proud of Ruby. We can't wait to see what the next 3 years hold. It's so exciting. Also a little daunting for us as coaches because now we're like, oh man. Okay, how do you follow up state champion? I guess you switch to another category and try to take that one down too. Maybe next year nationals for Ruby, right? That's the goal. So thank you for welcoming her. We appreciate it, and we're so proud of everything she's accomplished.
So family, at this time, it's all for you. So if you guys, we'll take a picture with the board right here, and Ruby, you'll go in the middle, and family, we'll take pictures. And then once the board will get out of there, feel free to go and take pictures. And let me grab one.
Huh?
No, just. We can
Oh, I didn't see
I
that!
can read it and see.
Oh, that's great, that is awesome. Let's go.
So we bought her ring. She had a ring. Once we
That's
said
perfect.
what
Make sure you show your
business went, but it's a boy and a candidate next to each other. And then we'll go read her. And then he answers
1,
questions.
2, 3.
And it's like, this is Brandon. Brandon has the first question. Brandon's in the second grade. And then Brandon and then Brandon asks this question. Brandon,
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right, family, you want any pictures with her? Absolutely.
You want to do it now or later?
Congrats.
Do you right now?
Yeah, we'll go right to you.
Those?
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Come on, Mom.
Sure, yeah.
It's a really different section.
Yes, ma'am. Yep, absolutely.
And it's,
Huh?
there's no reason the teacher can't do it. It's just kids in their pictures, so there's no weird character crossover things that we need to worry about.
Get right back in the center.
There's no humor based. I mean, come on, kids.
No, you're good. Trust me, this is.
They really told January.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Round of applause for Ms. Ruby.
Do it next year.
Thank you.
So at this time, family, friends, if you guys want to have a good evening, absolutely feel free to stay. We love visitors to the board meeting, but if you have better things to do, absolutely. Thank you guys, thank you.
Absolutely.
Maybe more.
I'm assuming it's in here?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda would be public participation for agenda items only. Anybody have anything for agenda items? If not, we will continue on with communications.
Yeah, so special thank you to the entire staff, especially the custodians, cooks, drivers, teachers, for preparing our campus to welcome the kids, teachers, and parents back. As you can see, the building is shining, the buses are freshly painted, they're humming along, smiles showcasing the beginning of the year. It has been contagious. We are having a great beginning of the year. I'm very proud to be a cheerleader for our district. There's so much to celebrate, and I just want to thank the Board of Education, the staff community for a great summer and even a better opening to the school year. We talk about South Range being special, and I'm just blessed to serve the student, staff, and the community. Moving to elementary school tutoring, and I do see Mr. Matus is here. Despite the federal government not permitting our elementary school to receive those Title I funds, I'm excited to share Mr. Matus's and his team's hard work that we're providing that support for the building in the form of tutoring and intervention. It's underway. Last week, the elementary school administration and staff successfully interviewed an AmeriCorps tutor, and I mean, pretty positive feedback. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Her name is Jennifer DeRuiter, former teacher. She taught at West Branch, taught, I believe, in the Canton area for a while. A lot of experience. We had a great phone conversation. She came in, we had a very nice face-to-face interview, walked around, met some of our teachers. Very, very positive experience. I think she'll do great with our teachers, with our students. She's familiar with the Wonders program that we use. She's familiar with MAP, which is great since our teachers are not familiar, and we're just going to be starting that. So I think she'll do a great job with our reading intervention when we get that started.
AmeriCorps has been great collaborating with us. They're currently looking for a math tutor for Mr. Matus and working in the middle school. So in the middle school world, AmeriCorps is vetting several mentors. I think one met with Mr. Zolik today to talk about mentoring and tutoring. The middle school team is interviewing and having that onboarding process throughout the next few weeks. So despite the unfortunate situation of the federal government, reducing those funds in the elementary, I'm proud for the positive energy to get better every day and to support our kids' K-8.
Just one question. How, for the one in the elementary, are we gonna have her all week, so many hours, what's the?
Yes, they can work 30 hours a week. So she'll be here from 8 to 2 every day. They can't work with as many students. They can work with about half the students that our title people could work with. So she can have about 30 to about 35 students on her caseload. So the way we'll probably schedule her is 2 groups, 3rd and 4th grade is what we're looking at, 2 groups per classroom. And you know, throughout the entire school day.
Next on the agenda today is a schedule of fees district-wide. Moving forward, the board may discuss fees on increasing or decreasing various fees. And the point of that would be, so in May, we're setting our fee schedule out so parents know for the following year for school supplies and just allocating resources for the summer months. Now notice the transportation and activity fee is not on there because that is a board policy. It's policy 551301, co-curricular, extracurricular transportation activity fee. So therefore, there's no Board of Education discussion of increasing or decreasing that $40 fee. The board would have to discuss and to deliberate a change to the policy in the same process of other Board of Education policies if the board decides to increase, decrease, or to remove that policy. Regarding this fee and this policy, I've met with various stakeholders just over the last few weeks to provide me insights on where they are with that, and I'm more than glad to share those perspectives of the few individuals. And I told you, I think the why of we communicate in May, so then if resources are needed for families, rural TANs or various booster organizations, we can put in contact with these families so that we're wrapping our arms around raters who might be in need.
Actually, if we can, because I know you and I have talked several times about that, because I know we really started implementing getting the fees and stuff. When it originally came out and adopted in a policy 10 years ago, it was because we didn't pass a levy. And I know there has been a lot of talk about maybe increasing the fee or get rid of the fee. And I know we've reduced it down, so I'm for not really having it, because even when we did the convocation, having the extracurriculars for those kids helps them in school. And I know this past week some students were pulled out because their parents didn't pay. And with that, I have a problem with, because I think it's affecting the kids. So I think we need to come up with a better way of, if we're collecting the money, so kids aren't going without. Because one, it's embarrassing to the students just because their parents won't pay or can't pay. So I think maybe we need to look into that a little bit more.
And that's a process that the board, we could, over the course of the year, kind of talk about that. And even one of the stakeholders, when we had conversations, it was, well, the fee in itself, the policy in itself, if you read it, is pretty clear. However, there's no like communication descriptors, there's no time frames, there's essentially pay or sit out. So one perspective was, well, theoretically keep the fee, because that the money does go back to support, to offset some of the costs for a lot of the activities and so forth. So if we were to keep it, could there be a communication, like a week out this happens, a week out this happens, that currently we don't have in our administrative guidelines nor the board policy. So that was a couple of the stakeholders that had conversations, again, of making sure kids are not necessarily being penalized if they can.
Yeah, I think you and I probably talked for a good hour and a half on that, because I just,
Good conversation. So it's a conversation for
I
the
don't
board.
want it to affect the kids, especially if it's getting them to go to school and it helps them.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's a fine line though, because we're gonna hold kids' diplomas and caps and gowns if they don't pay their fees or return books or whatever. Like, we have to draw a line somewhere. And I'm not saying I'm ready to change it either way, but I think we need to look at the financial implications and then see if we wanna do something, what that would be. But, I mean, you gotta draw a line and stick to it, I think, at some point.
Well, I think there's some organizations that said they would step up for the kids that are actually in need of financial help.
And then just the process of the responsibility of administration to notify, you know, hey, can we help you? You know, we're noticing X, Y, and Z, and then connecting families. So a lot of great conversations that historically I think have been had for years regarding this fee. But it's been good. It's been definitely allowing us to really talk about how we can help more kids and so forth.
Maybe that's, you know, the outcome the best outcome we can hope for is we have a little bit better process that
I think it's
lets them have those supports or knows where they can send them if they need that support.
So we can come up with a game plan of how to maybe talk about this more often in public session about first read, second read, because we would have to go through that whole process because it is board policy. So, just wanted to be sure I shared that because of the great conversations we had. So, next, I just have two more items. Next, in the drive, I did share administrative addendum updates for your review and for September approval. And then finally, I'm very excited to share that we've secured a price for Pave Connect to conduct a paving assessment, developing a roofing and paving facilities plan. This audit came in at $1,000 that we would use. There's a certain account that is approved for these dollars, and Mario could talk more about that. But essentially, we now have a 5-year facilities plan that would lay out like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. We have 6 more years under the current warranty with our roof. So we want to have a plan in place of what it would look like so we can start budgeting accordingly with some facilities planning. And this audit, Dean, myself, and Mario, we were very excited to have a conversation with Pave Connect and then Roof Connect, who recommended some local companies who do really, really good job as well. So this is a very affordable opportunity that we will get an overwhelming return on our facilities plan and so forth. And that being said, thank you.
That will take us to the consent agenda, so we will go through these items and then we'll approve them all at the end. First of which is the meeting minutes for the July 17th special meeting, conducted regular business, special meeting just because the time was changed. And then the July 30th special meeting, that was a work session we held. Did anybody have any issues with those? Thought everything looked good. And that will take us to Mr. Nero's financial report.
Andy provided the July financial reports. One of the cash projection was based, those numbers were based on the May forecast. Obviously, as we get closer to the fall forecast update and working on the preparation to update that report with the updated numbers. One of the updates would be with our insurance rates. We got good news a few weeks ago that they only recommended a 3.14% increase in our insurance. And with the negotiated plan design, we actually saw a reduction of about 2% in our insurance premium. So that'll help the forecast out tremendously in the fall. So, do you guys have any questions about finances?
If there's nothing else, that'll take us down to the personnel and the volunteers.
Yeah, so 2 individuals volunteering, Dr. Engel for boys soccer and Grayson Martz, recent graduate, for speech and debate, pending his pupil activity and his background check. Next, using Title I federal funding for the middle school, hiring these 3 tutors at the compensation and his effective date. And again, the middle school does receive title funding, so using the title dollars to secure mentors and tutors and some resources for the tutors as well, as I know the middle school's been working really hard, Mrs. Pettit and Mr. Zolik, on creating that plan. Item E, motion to approve the following certified hire. That is Jerry DePasquale, high school tutor, working in that support study hall. He does have his pupil activity permit. It came in, yesterday or today. Item F, motion to approve the following staff resignation. That's Elaine Brancancio, district psychologist. She resigned, effective date July 31st. Item G, motion to approve the following classified staff new hire. That's Joe Kenny, custodian assistant. That was Tom Foster in the cafeteria. We've been in school 3 days. I've seen Joe rocking and rolling with kids, opening a lot of cheese sticks and tying shoes, and he's having a good old time. And his background check did come back valid. Motion to approve the following classified personnel for the start of this year through the end of June 30, 2025. Mr. Fotu, Ms. Stafford, aides, extracurricular aides for a particular student. Also, wastewater treatment operator, Mr. Jenick, which is an annual approval, and Ms. Lindquist, who is an itinerant in the cafeteria. She She runs that cafeteria, she runs it, like, it's awesome in there with her and, Mr. Kenny. Item I, motion to approve the following transportation staff for this school year, and you can see the tier ones, tier twos, OBI trainers, sub-drivers, and part-time mechanics on that list. Continuing with item J, Ms. Stafford with a, supporting, help with a student in band. One was for the summer, and now this one is for the rest of the football games and anything with this child in band. She is there to help as an aid. Looking at item K, motion to approve the following volunteer advisor positions. These are annual positions, that I think Mario has budget codes for, that we just need board approval that they can run fundraisers. Continuing, breakfast and lunch prices, the updated, and finally, the updated adult lunch price. I think last month we approved the student. This was the adult price at $4. So if you're around campus and you want a really good lunch, it's really cheap, $4. Really good food. And that's all we have.
While we're on that, let's talk a little bit about the, you and I had some conversations with Caitlin about the schools that are getting the free lunches for everybody, and I know I received a few emails, people asking me, why don't we get free lunches, and you can probably explain it better than I can, but that was the gist of it.
Yeah, so, her organization, every month they sit and there's an algorithm. So you have to take student counts that we receive in the computer. You take the student counts and you plug them in this algorithm, and it tells you if you can apply for a community education program, which is the National Free Reduced Lunch. You have to be at certain thresholds of free and reduced lunch per month that have to add up every month. We are below that threshold, so we don't have enough qualifying kids to receive this national free breakfast and free lunch program that a lot of schools in our area do receive. I think Brian might have been in my office, or he was with me when she called and we actually had a conversation, and he actually heard the conversation, in that she was like, I will continue to run, she said, because those numbers do fluctuate, but she said, we just don't qualify. She was gonna do another look at it to see if potentially moving forward we could, but just with our numbers, we just didn't qualify with the amount of students who could receive free reduced lunch.
Yeah.
In a gist.
So worth mentioning, we've got some calls on or emails on it.
Mhm.
It's something that Caitlin and her team are looking
Yeah.
at, and we just don't qualify, but they're not, it's not that we didn't know about it or forgot to check or
Mhm.
anything, we just don't meet the criteria.
Right, and she's going to run back through, just almost like she did with Title I, just to double check. And moving forward, depending with some of the kids that we received, new enrollments and so forth, we might easily qualify next year, because that target also moves, the government changes the qualifiers as well. I don't remember the exact number last year, but it did change a little bit this year, so.
So we have no free reduced lunch children?
We do. To qualify for this program, you need a certain number, and we don't meet that number. It's almost like Title, where we didn't have a certain number, so we didn't qualify. Very similar with the free breakfast and lunch for all kids.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, sorry
Okay.
about
For this week, all.
All kids,
this is for
okay.
all kids. Yeah, thank you
That
for
explains it better.
making me clarify that.
Because what I think Austin Town, and there was a couple other schools that qualify for all kids, but since we didn't meet that threshold, we do still have people that are eligible for,
Mhm.
But, okay, so those
Individual.
kids get it.
yeah, they're still good. It's just as a whole, we don't qualify.
Okay.
And she's absolutely looking into that, I think she told Brian and I, she looked at it in June, and then I called her, I was like, hey, can you double check again? She's like, I just did, I'll do it again. So it's one of those things that, because kids' enrollment changes as well, so this would help, free breakfast and lunch for all if we met that threshold, so.
Any other questions on, I think that brings us to that, yeah, any other questions on the consent agenda items? If there's not, I'd ask for a motion to approve those items. Tyler moves and Jack seconds. All in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? Those all carry. Moving on to the regular agendas, we will kick it over to Mr. Nero with the Home with Here LLC.
Yeah, this is they provide nursing services to one of our students. They've been here for quite a few years. It's just the new updated contract for this upcoming year.
So we would need a motion to approve that contract. Elizabeth
second.
moves, Terry seconds. Terry's missing from my second. Oh, Rachel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Item B is inventory removal of textbooks.
Yeah, just wanted to hear Kim McLaughlin that has some obsolete books in their classrooms.
Motion to approve removing those books. Tyler moves,
Second.
Elizabeth seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. On to the donations that we would like to graciously accept.
Yeah, this is a little change of procedure. We usually did it all at one time at the end of the school year. We're just gonna do it throughout the year this coming year.
Yeah, I like breaking it up like that. I like it more frequently. So we have OHSAA, the elementary PTO, times 2 for 2 different accounts or 2 different funds that they were generously making a donation for, so thank you. A motion to accept those donations.
I'll move.
Jack moves,
I'll second.
Tyler seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. This is the school fees that we talked about in the communications. Do you want to go over any of those, or do you have any questions on the fees listed here? This is just a list of all the class fees, the specific class fees, again, not the transportation activity fee, which is
Yeah,
covered by policy.
One fee I do wanna bring highlight to is on page 8, the technology fee. You know, Mr. Pagnata and I, we budget, in Mario, we as a team budget for Chromebooks and technology. And we just had a conversation today of, you know, any additional support or resources for Chromebooks, because we do allocate, but Chromebooks are kind of expensive, so if we replace, we have to replace them in waves. And Dean and I were just having a conversation that, Dean, I don't know if you're comfortable with sharing with the board, but where we are with that computer fee compared to maybe an opportunity for us to consider in the future with that fee.
Yeah, so, you know, every year we go through a cycle, and Chromebooks eventually expire. Once they expire, they can't be used in the classroom for testing. That's outside of the damages that occur to the Chromebook, whether it be accidental drops and or battery issues, which we just discovered today. We have a whole bunch that have swelled batteries. Dangerous in the classroom, we have to pull them. So it creates a need to maintain that one-to-one, and at a rate of $15, it's difficult to sustain that. Any repair we do on a Chromebook is going to be more than $15, and replacement right now is about $300, because although Google expanded the life cycle of the Chromebook, when they did that, the fee went up as well, right? Because you're getting a better processor, we're saying it lasts longer. So Chromebooks we're buying today last longer than Chromebooks we bought yesterday, but it's still difficult to maintain that cycle for, you know, over 1,200 Chromebooks district-wide. So that would be part of that conversation, to not only budget for it, but to get us like over the hump, so to speak, so that we can keep going with the Chromebooks we have. Because unfortunately, you may see a lot of Chromebooks, but out of that batch, how many expired already that we can't use for testing? And really that's the big push, because we have to have those devices for testing. And in the past, even still to play catch up, we've shared devices, we've pulled from other grade levels. And I'm afraid that we're not going to be able to do that any longer, because pushing testing down to those younger grade levels, they're going to need their own devices, and we can't borrow anymore. So.
And with that being said, we did write a grant with thank you South Range Foundation for their generous support with the grant writer, but we did write a grant, and we had a site visit from the Youngstown Foundation for a potential matching gift of money so we can buy. So there's what we allocate every year for Chromebooks, and then if we can get donations, then we can replace more Chromebooks so that we're not kind of doing this patch, this game here. We don't know about that grant yet, we haven't heard, but she spent a lot of time with the site review to see the need of our school.
Yeah.
So we do have a budget plan, and to replace any additional dollars from grants would help buy more for kids.
So I guess the long and short of it is, are we saying that $10 is okay for this year, we're gonna hope for grants and that may change next year, or are we gonna take immediate action on that?
Well, I think that, we can get through this year, but I think for the board, not just that fee, but the rest of these fees is something for us to consider.
Okay.
And we wanted to make you guys, as a team, high school, middle school, elementary school, you could see the fees per building. French did go up this year, in having conversations with the French instructor, that fee did come up because of the workbook, but the curriculum that we bought with that fee, I think it was $9 before, it's really great new curriculum. We talked about that a couple board meetings ago. I was actually in when the books came in, and really good stuff going on. Very outdated curriculum that Mr. Landry was using. So excited to see what he was able to get, and that money helps with those workbooks for those kids.
Any other questions on the scheduled fees? If there was not, we would just need a motion to approve those. Tyler moves,
I'll second.
Terry seconds, all in favor? Opposed? That carries. Employment of substitution teachers, this is a motion to approve the Mahoning Valley Regional Council of Governments for the employment of substitute teachers on an as-needed basis for the 24-25 school year, same system we used last year. Anything to add to that?
No, just that the COG pays for these substitute services. So we utilize Frontline as the actual software that locates the subs, but the Council of Governments pays the substitutes, not separate.
They hire them, they hire training, all that stuff.
Onboarding, training, background checks, support throughout the year.
So we just need a motion to approve using MVR COG. Elizabeth moves, Jack seconds, all in favor? Opposed? That carries. On to the educational service contract for the Title III English Learner Consortium contract for fiscal year '24.
Yeah, these are just for services for students that speak second language. We have Russian, we have some Spanish new this year. So this is with some Title III dollars and working with ESE to provide that second language support.
We're only about a couple of dollars that can sit for that. Yeah, so it's just doing that agreement with them.
So motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Elizabeth moves, Terry seconds, all in favor? Opposed? That carries. This is the approval for the bus routes for the 24-25 school year. It's just housekeeping item we have to do every year.
Second.
We got Tyler with the motion, Elizabeth with the second. All in favor? Opposed? That carries. The substitute nurse pay increase, I'm asking for a motion for the 24-25 year to increase the substitute nurses' pay rate from $15 an hour to $20 an hour.
I'll move.
Terry moves,
Second.
Elizabeth seconds, all in favor? Opposed? That carries. And this is a motion for the following transportation staff for the start of this year to the end of fiscal year, which is June 30th, 25. Anything you wanna mention about the clerics?
No, great worker here. I was able to really see some of her work this summer. But we have, just due to Ohio rules, we had to put this person on a separate item, and then get a board vote, just following the Ohio ethics, of how to hire. So,
Yep, sorry. So are we doing a roll call on this or no? Do we need, I don't think we need to, do we?
You see that first and second.
Yeah. So Elizabeth moves, Tyler is going to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. You need to
Doc-
Doc
Doc-
White abstain.
Yep.
Okay. This item declaring transportation impractical, this resolution just spells out, more about our policy for payment in lieu of transportation. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, so in April 17th, we approved the resolution. This is the resolution in totality, and also in Appendix A in the shared drive are the specific list of students. So what I would like to do moving forward is every time we approve, not the abridged, but we'll put the entire resolution, and the board will see that entire resolution. This is for students that we deem are impractical. So one student, we don't have drivers, there might be a student at a private school. We don't have drivers to drive that child to the private school. Per state law, we have to offer a payment in lieu at a certain amount if we deem it impractical. So in this situation, there are several students that go to like Mooney or some other schools that it's not practical to transport the kids all the way there. So according to the state laws, there's a set amount of money, there's a payment that our district cuts for those families. And that's the entire resolution if you look at it.
Anybody have any questions on that? If not, we'll just need a motion to approve that document in our meeting minutes. Tyler moves,
I'll second.
Elizabeth seconds. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Moving to number 12, I'm asking for a motion to approve the addendum to the extension of the treasurer's employment contract. That's a contract that was supplied to you from our attorney had drafted it, the board attorney had drafted it, from Mr. Nero, extending his contract to an additional 5 years. And if anybody had any questions, we can entertain those now, otherwise we just need a motion to approve Mr. Nero's contract.
Second.
Elizabeth moves, and Jack seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. And that would take us to public participation for non-agenda items. If you had anything, we just ask for 2 minutes, just give us your name and.
My name's Chris Matasevic. I just introduced myself to your superintendent a few minutes ago before we got started. I came down here just to tell you guys what I have and let you know I have something to offer that might be able to help you out. I have a GPS app that I invented, and a company that has, I have a route recorder player designed specifically for substitute drivers. What it is you can record your routes by driving them, save them, and then replay them for drivers that don't know the routes. You can add your stops. It's not like TransFinder we talked about where you have to buy it for all your buses and buy a tablet for all of them. You just get what you need to fix a problem. So this would eliminate, I know in the state of Ohio you have to carry the paper or the book with all the students and the directions. This would eliminate that problem. I'm approved by the state of Ohio, the state patrol. It has to talk, mine talks. But it's real simple. You record all your routes with all your students. You can put them in there as far as the stops and anything unusual, turnarounds, backups. My app covers all that stuff. I teach you how to use that or create it. And then when the driver calls off or you hire a new driver that doesn't know the route, all you have to do is log on to the tablet, select the route, hit play, and it leads them like a regular GPS. No more missed kids ever. My app, I promise you will do that. And you can come see me all over in Borton. So. But yeah, I just wanted to tell everybody about it, let you guys talk about it a little bit. And it's not like TransFinder's thousands of dollars, mine's not. Depends on what you need. You know, I don't know, how many buses you guys have?
Not as many as Boardman.
Haven't been to their meeting yet. But that's tomorrow or something, I don't know, this week. How many do you have? Like, I mean, just ballpark.
20.
I was gonna say about 16
So
to
typically,
16 to 18.
the study I did, it's about 6%, but you guys would know better than me. You think about how many buses or how many substitutes you have on a given day. That's what you buy as far as the driver users. And then you only have 20, you only need one supervisor unless you want an additional supervisor user, which I could teach you all that, but it's cut and dry. It's a tool to fix a specific problem. It's not something you have to use every day, hopefully, but when you have it for a rainy day. It's an insurance policy for routes. You can edit your students if they change or move on the tablet. So it does a lot more, but in a nutshell, that's what it does.
Okay.
What's the name of it?
The name of the company is Global Routing Solutions. Do you want another card?
Do you guys have one? Well, thank you for taking the time to come and.
Yeah, no, it works. That's why we tried making some phone calls to different schools. I don't think we called them in here and we didn't get it's hard to get hold of people, so we're just going to have This is what we decided this year, but we're in 13 states. If you Google Global Routing Solutions, it's all over the internet. 13 states with trash companies. So this works for any business that does dedicated routes, so it's not just, but the schools, I had to get approval through the state. I have that now, because it has to talk, so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
All right? All right, thank you. I appreciate your time. How do I get out of here?
That
Need door there, sir.
Need your app. It counts as a turnaround. Anybody else? Okay. That will take us on to other matters. The first item, we've got, the next board meeting is scheduled September 18th. Tyler has a conflict with that, and I'm not sure if I do or not. I have to find out when another meeting is, but I'll probably just contact everybody. We'll see if we have to issue a special notice to change it or not. We could do, they could do it without you, but we could if we had to, so we'll see what we have to do. So yeah, please stay tuned and we'll see if we need to make an adjustment to that. The only other item I had on other matters that I want to bring up to the board and get everybody else's opinion here in public. I've had some complaints about sound quality and video quality on the recordings. Started doing some checking, and recording board meetings, as you know, we can't vote like via Skype or Zoom or whatever we could during COVID. Those have ended. Recording board meetings is not in our policy. It's something that we've just been doing, but short of sinking more money into, in my opinion, sinking more money into technology to improve the sound or video, I'm not sure what else we could do to make the broadcast any better. Talking to our attorney, kind of getting some feedback from her on what other schools have been doing. She said a lot of other schools are actually moving away from live streaming their meetings, if nothing else because of the technology issues, but also to try to encourage people to come to the meetings, because as you can see, we have nobody. I looked on, so our last, sorry, no public, that was poorly phrased, but I apologize for that.
Guess I know we're all
Hey, you never do public participation, so. So I was just looking at our last half dozen meetings. We can see on YouTube the people that watch it and how many watch it. So our average is 54 people per meeting. High was 86 and the low was 33. So there's not a lot of attendance on YouTube live streaming it. So it was kind of, and like I said, it's not a policy. We don't need to have a board action on it, but in an effort to save Dean some headaches and people, instead of struggling to hear us on here, as you know, people are welcome. If we need to move, we could always go back to the auditorium if we need to and use the PA system. And hopefully that would encourage some more public participation, because another complaint I saw was that we don't offer that, which isn't the case. Every meeting we have, in fact, 2 times for public participation. So that was my suggestion. I kind of wanted to see if anybody else had an opposing view, or
Is that something we have to vote on?
we will not need to vote.
Since
We
it's
don't have
not
to change
policy.
policy. It would just be something that would change for the next meeting.
That's fine.
I agree.
That's
I
fine
think
with
we're
me.
fine, just doing public.
Yeah, and like the attorney said, that's the way she's seen a lot of the schools go, because participation and attendance has dropped off. It's a way to try to get more people to actually come and hear everything in its entirety instead of clips of
If they
it
have
or.
questions, they
Yeah.
can answer them.
Yeah. So I think for next meeting, that would be my suggestion, if no one's opposed to it, I'd say we're gonna just strictly go in person.
So we're not locked into one or the other then, essentially, correct?
We can switch back and forth if we need to, but
So if for whatever reason there was an issue with going strictly live again, then we could flip back to this if we had to.
yeah,
Okay.
theoretically, because
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
not policy.
Yeah, then why not give it a shot, going away from this, especially it's gonna be cost effective.
Yeah. So I guess I would encourage people to come next meeting and, if we fill up this space, we can move to the auditorium. But otherwise, I'd say that from this point on, we're just gonna plan on not broadcasting live and save us some technology issues. Did anybody else have anything for other matters? If not, we do not have executive tonight, so that would take us to adjournment. We just need a motion to adjourn. Tyler moves,
I'll second.
Terry seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That meeting ends at 6:46. Have a great rest of the first week. You guys, and you guys.